Hey everyone, I'm Chris, and this is Cue the Credits. Welcome back to Cue the Credits, the home of everything physical media, boutique Blu-rays, and the art of collecting. Today we're heading to Copenhagen for Second Sight Entertainment's brand new 4K release of the Pusher Trilogy by director Nicolas Winding Refn. Now this is a really special release. Not only is it rare for Second Sight to release multi-film box sets, but this is the start of Refn's career. This is his first major foray into feature-length films, but not only that, it's the film that managed to get him out of debt and keep him in a film career, but launch him into cult status with titles such as Bronson, Only God Forgives, and of course Drive. This trilogy is raw, stylish and brutal, all in its own way. And spoilers, Second Sight has done a wonderful restoration, all supervised by Refn himself. So in this video we're going to go through all three of the films, all the little bits and bobs you get on the disc, and we're also going to unbox it and see what's inside. So let's get on to that to start with, and let's take a look inside the box. So let's kick off with the packaging. We've got the Pusher logo on the front with Frank, Tony and Milo adorned in the Pusher logo, and this box has got this wonderful red tone on it. It's going to look so good on the shelf. If we move over to the side, we have got Pusher Trilogy and the Second Sight logo, and then onto the back we've got J card here, and as you can see, bunch of special features along with the limited edition contents there and the tech specs. We get rid of that. It is just a plain red background. I personally would have liked something on the back here, but it's not the end of the world. But Second Sight could invest a little bit in the rear. We saw on the Nice Guys that they had just a little bit of artwork on the back, even if it was just some lines of dope. So moving back onto the front again to get another shot of that logo, we've got that wonderful Pusher artwork with the three characters. Now all of this artwork is brand new and it's done by Thomas Walker. I really like the style of this, and like I said, this red really pops. Onto the discs, we have got the trilogy housed in a digipack, which is still sporting that artwork by Thomas Walker, so it's throughout this trilogy. And as you can see there, we've got the major shot of Frank running from the cops here. It looks great as a full fold out. And then if we actually look on the discs, we have got each one of the Pusher films with their respective main characters there. And each one of the discs has the characters just behind them. Of course, that's Mads Mikkelsen as Tony. Next up, we've got some art cards. So you get 5 within this box set. You get one of the back of Mads Mikkelsen's character Tony, you get one of Frank running, and then you get 3 character cards as well. These are really nice quality and sport that Thomas Walker artwork. And finally, you get a 120-page book with essays from Jamie Graham, Janine Pipe, Alison Taylor, and Nadine Whitney, just to name a few. This is a really nicely put together book and a really good read. And finally, you get some acknowledgements and production credits right on the back there. And that is everything that you get inside this box set. Of course, with all Second Sight releases, when you're going for the limited editions, you get that nice hard box there. It really makes it feel nice and premium, and everything's done to a super high standard, which is always lovely to see. I'm really excited to get this red up in the red section. It's going to look great. So onto the films themselves. Let's start with Pusher from 1996. This is Refn's first feature-length film, coming out in 1996 on a relatively small budget of just shy of $1 million US. This film puts you straight into the underworld of Copenhagen, with Frank, played by Kim Bodnia, and Tony, played by Mads Mikkelsen. Both are small-time drug dealers, and things start to spiral out of control in both of their lives, and leads to the events of this film. It has been said by Refn himself that he took some influence from the major American gangster films here, but it is a little more gritty, kind of like the Snatch style from Guy Ritchie that we'd see in a couple of years after this. That being said, the original Pusher does keep you on the edge of your seat throughout its runtime. This film has been given an absolutely wonderful 4K restoration, but you can see that it has been done on a budget. It is gritty and it is damn grainy, but it looks really, really nice. It also comes with an Atmos track, which just kind of oomphs the audio a little bit more. So if you've got the ability to have Atmos in your setup, you're really going to benefit from turning that on. Checking out also the 5.1 track, it is just a little bit more subdued, but still nothing to complain about. Straight from the off as well, you can see Refn's style starting to creep out with like the synth in the background, which you'll see more prominently within Drive. And then the semi-unhinged characters, which will be present, of course, in Bronson and Only God Forgives. All in all, Pusher 1 is a really, really good time if you like a crime drama. But we will see that Refn does depart from this solely crime-focused story later on in Pusher 2 and 3. Apart from it being a really good time, this film really made me want to go on a European city break. Like, as soon as I was in it, I was like, man, I need to book a trip somewhere, like, though it's like crime underworld. It's a vibe. And if you've ever been to like a major European city like Amsterdam, Copenhagen, you'll know what I mean. There is just a certain vibe, and Refn really captures that throughout all of this. But finally, on Pusher, it is a tense ride throughout the film, but it is a groundbreaking start for Refn, and it is a strong start for him for this trilogy. On Pusher, it is tense throughout. You're not sure about where it's going to go next and how people are going to get out of that, but it's a really strong start for Refn on this trilogy. Next up, Pusher 2, and this shifts the focus to Tony, played by Mads Mikkelsen. Right away, you can see that the budget has been increased, and you can also see that Refn's now around about 8 years into his feature film career. The production feels bigger, but it's still keeping it reasonably raw and on the edge. But we've got location changes, and we've got bigger sets, even though there are quite a few small rooms that feel really tight and claustrophobic, and that just adds to the tension of those certain scenes that are in there. Pusher 2 this time digs into the desperation of this crime underworld. It also focuses heavily on Tony coming out of prison and really not knowing what to do with himself, especially when he's been born into this criminal underworld. It focuses on male impotence, being a father while also not really having a proper father figure, and the masculinity that comes with this and how you have to weigh up those challenges. Refn does note that while making Pusher, his focus shifted from just solely wanting to make a crime film to being more focused on the humanity of characters, and you really see that within Pusher 2. The Tony character, played by Mads Mikkelsen, has so much emotion without properly seeing it. You get an occasional tear here and there, but he plays it so close to the chest. It is just a really fabulous performance, and it just shows why Mads Mikkelsen's gone on to get some absolutely phenomenal roles in his career, including Le Chiffre in James Bond, and of course Hannibal Lecter in the Hannibal TV series. So, to round up, Pusher 2 stylistically, to see Refn finding his voice, balancing that crime drama. Personally, for me, this is really where you start to see the DNA of his style really starting to form, and what will go on to arguably his biggest masterpiece in Drive. And finally, onto Pusher 3, which once again shifts character focus to Milo, played by Zlato Buric. He is in this role throughout all three of these Pusher films, being the main antagonist to Frank in Pusher 1, to a cameo in Pusher 2, and then the main character in Pusher 3. It follows his story as an aging gangster while also trying to juggle family life and a daughter's poignant birthday. This entry focuses again more and more on character, that character development, and focusing on family and how that plays into being a gangster in this deep, gritty underworld of Copenhagen. I don't have many notes on Pusher 3. It was a really enjoyable character study of Milo, while also just generally feeling quite unsettling, messy, and just having some really gritty undertones. You can also see that this is where Refn starts to find that normalised gore and violence that will become present in more and more of his films going forward. All in all, together, these three films film a beautiful portrait, though beautiful might not be the right word for this, of crime and the underworld in Copenhagen. With each film shifting perspectives to different characters, but building on that overall world and just adding more and more in each entry. So overall, if you haven't seen the Pusher Trilogy aside from this release, I would really, really recommend it. They are great gangster films. Me personally, I had only seen little bits and bobs from maybe the first one or two and hadn't had chance to actually fully sit down and watch them. After getting this in yesterday from HMV, I was planning on watching at least probably number 1 and then checking out parts of 2 and 3 just to give you a definitive review. Unfortunately, I'm filming this probably 2 or 3 hours before it will actually go live on YouTube because I ended up watching all 3 of the films. They kept me that captivated and I just wanted to see how the story progressed and how these characters developed. So if you like a little bit of tragedy sprinkled in with some crime drama, absolutely check out the Pusher Trilogy from Nicolas Winding Refn. So all in all, the Pusher Trilogy really starts to showcase where Refn's style is. From finishing Pusher 3 and going on to direct Tom Hardy in Bronson, to his multi-film partnership with Ryan Gosling in Drive and Only God Forgives. These films really set the stage for what Refn's career does transition into later down the line. So, my overall final thoughts on this. This is a wonderful 4K restoration done by Second Sight, supervised by Refn himself. There was a previous 4K collection that came out on the Buy NWR site earlier in the year, but looking online that had a lot of different encoding issues. I can safely say by watching these there are no problems with this release. These are all 3 4K discs, so they are region free if you do want to check them out in other parts of the world. And I also would note that these are all Danish films. They do come with English subtitles, but there are no English audio tracks on this. These also do come with a slew of special features on each one of the discs. So you get new audio commentaries by Refn and various other people on each of the 3 movies. You also get the Gambler documentary, which follows Refn's fall into debt and having to make Pusher 2 to basically get out of debt and be able to continue to make feature films. You also get Paul Nurup's 1960s youth trilogy films in new 4K restorations. Now, Refn actually dedicated Pusher 3 to this specific director, and they do share a certain partnership showing off normal lives. So actually on this box set you are getting 6 feature-length 4K films. Absolutely amazing value on that side of things. That is the release from Second Sight. It is absolutely packed on that side of things with wonderful restorations, great special features, along with really nice packaging. Refn's style starts to seep through these films and you can really see the blueprints and the DNA of his style going forward, from the sound and sometimes just lack of sound. The silence that he works through is absolutely phenomenal and really makes you sit with the characters throughout. Second Sight have gave an absolutely wonderful release to this trilogy. Not only is it in beautiful 4K, this is actually the first time it has been released on anything higher than DVD in the UK, so it is brilliant to see it in such wonderful quality. So if you're into crime films, Refn's other work, or just a great boutique release, I would absolutely recommend the Pusher Trilogy on 4K from Second Sight. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Cue the Credits. Will you be picking up the Pusher Trilogy, or have you got the Buy NWR box set, or have you got the DVD and you're happy with sticking with that one? Let me know in the comments down below. I would also like to give a little shout out to everyone who has already subscribed to Cue the Credits. As of this morning, we have just hit 200 subscribers, and I can't thank you enough for making just this passion project about talking about one of my favourite things a reality. I've loved engaging with every one of you in the comments. I'd love to know what your favourite Pusher film is down in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, give it a share to all your friends. We got to hit 300 now, right? I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you do want to check out another video, there'll be a couple linked at the end. One that's going to be here around other boutique releases, and one here that is my latest release. Thank you again so much. Peace.